All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Best Self Blueprint, where the goal of this podcast is to bring on people with the knowledge, experience, and insight as to what it takes to pursue your passions, live your dreams, and move the dial towards becoming the best version of yourself. So, these guys are two people I wanted everyone to meet. I've been watching these guys train and compete in Ninja Warrior since getting into the sport almost 2 years ago. And like fine wine, they're just getting better with age. These guys entertain and inspire so many others in the ninja community with their crazy obstacle ideas, consistent podium appearances, and end of video noggins. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go watch their videos. So let's welcome the tie-dye titans, the widely known ninja teens, Chris and Levi. What's up, guys?
What's up? How's it going?
Just chill.
Good. So just to start, give us a little background on yourselves and like how you got into the sport of Ninja Warrior.
All right. So I've always watched the show as a kid, like a lot of us in this sport. I've always loved doing pull-ups, stuff like that. And eventually I made a pegboard in my basement, and then made a sandline in my backyard. And then my uncle ended up opening up a gym in Cedar Falls called Ninja U. I decided to stop by, see what it was like, and then I just immediately fell in love with it and couldn't leave.
Same with me. I was always watching my kid as a kid, my brother and grandpa. Just went through high school sports and stuff like that. Just developed a passion for competing. And then I had a choice of football or ninja. Chose ninja and haven't really looked back now. Fell in love with it. And just for the record, I came here before Chris.
Okay.
So
Like a week before.
Yeah. But
Hey,
yeah.
before is before. He's got you beat.
Yeah.
And then how did the idea of Ninja Teens actually come about?
It's pretty simple. So we were like messing around on the warp walls or something like that, and he was like, "We should like make an Instagram account and just post stuff of us doing it." And I just kind of laughed it off, and I later texted him that night. I'm like, "So are we doing this?" And we just made an account. And we started posting stuff.
We didn't. Off the record, we're 20 now.
Yeah, we're 20 now. We're not teens
We're not
anymore.
teens anymore, but we didn't really think about that, so we're just gonna stick with it.
Hey, it's the idea. It's the idea.
Definitely.
Now, when did Ninja go from, hey, this is fun, like I'll do it to get some exercise, to I really want to compete and podium, and there's really that confidence behind I can do really well in the sport?
Mine started coming just like the competing side of it. I'm really like competitive and stuff like that, so I just want to keep competing throughout my life and stuff like that. So I pretty much, when I started, I knew I wanted to compete, but it never really, the confidence didn't really start coming until this past year when I started like competing in bigger competitions and competing against really big names and stuff like that.
Yeah. The start, I kind of did it just for fun, like keep me in shape. I love doing it, so I just did it. And then about what was it, March of like 2019 when we went to Missouri. May of 2019, we went to Missouri for UNAA regionals, and I did terrible. It was like the worst competition I've ever done. And right after that, I texted one of my friends. I'm like, okay, we're up in the training now. Like it's go time. And ever since then, I've just been training super hard and like ready for competitions.
Yeah, I feel like Ninja is one of those sports where as soon as you get a taste of not doing well in a competition, it just lights that fire of like, all right, we're doubling up training.
Definitely.
Mhm.
So talk to me about, I want to talk to you guys about failure in that sense. Like, so when you go to a comp, you've trained really hard, you've eaten right, you've done everything that you can do, and then it just doesn't go your way. How do you move past that and just move on to the next thing?
So I'll go first for this one. Just recently, me, Levi, and a couple of our friends went to Colorado for this huge ninja competition. It's the bucket of chalk competition. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Oh, I know Levi did pretty well.
Yeah, Levi kicked butt in it.
Yeah.
But in the first stage, I was doing pretty well, and I fell on the balance, and that put me in top 35 move on, and I was 36th. So just from that, I was so upset, and the rage I had inside of me, I just wanted to like run every course you could possibly think of. And it's just something you have to move past and like you have to have short-term memory and use that for motivation and just get past it. And there's always going to be more comps where you can redeem yourself.
Yeah, same with me. I just had one bad comp, and I was like, this isn't happening again. So I just bump up the training severely and cut down on being having more cheat meals and stuff like that. Just like eat super clean now, so I can stay lean, and a lot more cardio coming into it too.
And then one thing I'm curious if you guys do, so I know there's a big difference between training and competition in the sense that when you're at a competition, your adrenaline spiked, your heart rate is up. So how do you guys train to anticipate that like sensation in your body?
Uh, Here and there, every now and then, we actually do like a friendly competition where we do like a $5 or $10 buy-in, just to like get the like money's on the line to get your adrenaline going and stuff like that. And we also have done a few times where we do like a workout and then we'll do a course afterwards. So we're kind of like our heart rate's up. We can fall more easily on balance obstacles and stuff like that because you're not as focused, just to get the feel of a competition.
Yeah, we've done a couple times where like we do 150 jump ropes or something right before the course. So like our heart rate's up, we're like ready to go, and we're not as focused for the course.
Yeah, that's one thing I practice and preach because I'm a coach at Legendary 2 for the youth team, and that's one thing all the kids seem to get frustrated of like, well, I can do the balance in practice, but I can't do the balance in the competition. It's like, yeah, that's because your heart rate is more than double the pace that it's at when you're practicing.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, are you guys coaches there as well?
Yep.
So how does, because I feel like this is just a major advantage, how does actively participating in the sport help you as coaches?
The IQ, it just helps with your IQ a whole lot. Like you see so much more like when you're coaching your kids and you see how they're doing it compared to how you're doing it. It just makes you realize that there's so many different ways you can approach one obstacle, and it just makes you think about it a lot more.
And the way I look at it as like coaching and stuff like that is like we're pretty much like role models for the kids and like our mind stuff like that. I mean, we're competing at high levels. Hopefully, we'll be on the show and stuff like that. So it's like more what's the word? Like it just gives us more motivation to keep training with like kids looking up to us and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it too is like you don't want to have imposter syndrome where you're telling someone to go do something and you're not doing it yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about coaching is especially in like health and fitness is if you're not doing the things, no one's going to listen to you because if you can't even do it for yourself, why have someone else do it?
Yeah, for sure.
What is one of the biggest lessons you've learned from working with kids? Because I feel like kids, like as immature as we perceive them to be, teach us a lot when we work with them. What's like one of the biggest lessons you've taken from working with kids?
The biggest one I think is to just to have fun in it and stuff like that. There's a lot of kids that we coach and stuff like that that go to competitions, and if they fall and stuff like that, they just some of them just completely like throw it out the window. Like they don't even like really feel bad about it because they're having fun, and that's what I think is the main like goal for this is just to have fun and stuff like that, and then of course succeeding and doing the best you can.
My biggest thing I've learned from it is just to like never, the typical saying, never judge a book by its cover. Because like some of these kids that we coach are insane athletes. Like they're better than some of the people I know that train.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that if they just continuously do it and consistently do it, they will be insane athletes when they get older.
Yeah, never judge a book by its cover, I think applies across the board too. Like
Yeah.
even outside of athletics, there are some people who will just baffle you if you actually sit down and have a conversation with them. You're like,
Definitely.
wow, I had no idea they knew that much about XYZ, which is one thing I love about doing this is you just get to like sit down and open up the book and not judge it by its cover.
Yeah, there's just so many different like types of ninja athletes. It's like it's crazy. You have like people that are lengthy and stuff like that, but like their grip strength is incredible. And then you have the guys that are like bulky and stuff like that that weigh like 200 pounds that are still moving their body like crazy.
It's so impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So tying into what you've learned, obviously like kids teach you a lot. What has it been like learning from, because I know the owner of the gym was on the show.
Yep.
So what is it like learning from people? And correct me if I'm wrong, Jackson was on the show as well.
Yep.
So what's it like being able to pick the brains of people who have experienced what you're looking to achieve?
That's kind of when we started doing like the workouts before the course, because like we typically do it like right before we would get the call. So he's like, you just got to be ready to have your adrenaline pumping, your heart racing. So we're going to do a workout before the course and then do the course. So it's kind of cool to get like that insider info of like how they feel and like what they're thinking and their nerves, and like it's easy to say it but not do it. So like a lot of people saying like, oh, I could go right here, but they're on national television, so they might want to take an extra swing before they land.
Yeah.
It's just that little stuff.
It also really helps with like them knowing what you need to be training for. Like Jackson, he's an incredible training partner. He's an incredible athlete, one of the strongest people I know, and he's helping us to get better and stuff like that, telling us, like giving us helpful tips. But it's also kind of like the students teaching the teacher and stuff like that. Like we also give back to him and stuff like that. So it's all meshes together, and it's super great to have experienced people that were on the show helping us and being around us.
Yeah, and I like what you said. Like, yes, you're talking to someone who's coaching you or mentoring you, but I love that about the sport of Ninja Warrior, that there's always a back and forth. No matter who you're training with, there's something that you'll see that they can improve and vice versa.
Yeah, definitely.
And another thing about it is anyone who is looking for a sport where it's competitive, but it's not like cutthroat. That's my favorite thing about ninja competitions is you show up and the people who are competing against you are cheering you on the course and like
Oh,
giving
yeah.
you tips, and it's just such a friendly, uplifting environment because it's, I think, the epitome of iron sharpens iron, where
Yeah,
you're cheering for people and you want them to get better because that's going to make you try to up the ante and
exactly.
get better.
Definitely. It's crazy at competitions because like it's not like like a weightlifting competition where if they're stronger than you, I mean they're obviously going to compete better. Like if someone's stronger than you, there's still like opportunity for them to slip up on a small obstacle or like a balance obstacle or something like that. So you just have to be all around and stuff like that. And people always are throwing tips out for you. So
And that's the thing. Anything can happen in a competition like that. Like, I think I'm gonna bring it back to the bucket chalk competition again. That's the last obstacle I expected to fall on, but I did. And you just gotta accept it and move on. So
Now, one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I know you're both really good about this, is your habits outside of the gym. So, what are some habits that you have outside of the gym in terms of what you eat, what you do, that contribute to your success in the gym?
so I've kind of been on and off of a we do keto diet pretty much here. And I've just been on and off with it. I've lost the weight that I needed to lose, and I haven't really gained the weight back. So I've just kind of been plateaued at like 140-ish when I was like 154 coming into college. So I haven't been dieting a whole lot lately, but when I need to, I definitely do.
it's the same for me. For the past 2 years, pretty much, I've been doing extremely like low carb stuff just to lose a bunch of weight. So they said I was bulking up for football because I was going to play college football. So I came into like a couple of weeks before I started actually like coming into Ninja U and stuff like that. I weighed like 215 pounds or something like that. And then just through the past couple of years of dieting, eating clean and stuff like that, working out consistently, I lost like 50 pounds. This morning I weighed myself after a workout and after I peed and stuff like that. So I was like as low as I could get. I was at just under 160. So it just comes into being consistent and stuff like that. And now since I kind of do a lot more training now too than I used to. I'm bumping up my carbs a little bit, just giving more energy, but I'm still trying to keep my diet as clean as possible. So
So, there are two things I want to talk about. The first one is I think it's people underestimate how adaptive the human body is. If you really know the science behind how to lean out or bulk up, it's really just a matter of time and effort and staying consistent with it.
yeah,
So that's one big takeaway. The other thing that I think, Chris, you said the word that I wanted to get into with you guys is plateau. Every single athlete or every single person trying to achieve a long term goal has experienced that word. How do you break through plateaus? How do you break through those times where you just feel like I'm training harder, but I'm just not getting the result? I'm staying where I am. How do you break through that?
So throughout high school, I was always my baseball coach always told us to trust the process and stuff like that. So just keep continuing with it, and it's kind of just like kind of like a staircase, pretty much. You have to go plateau and come up, plateau, and you go up, and it's just keep redoing the cycles that you're doing, and eventually it's gonna keep pushing you up.
Yeah, I was kind of along the same thing as Levi. In high school, we weren't incredibly good at sports, so we always had like the trust the process thing. Like, just look at the bigger picture. If you consistently just put in the work every day, it's gonna come out. It does. Don't worry about when it does. It will eventually. So as long as we have that bigger picture in mind, I think everything will be fine.
Very good advice. Anyone who's listening, pay attention to that. All right. So, what advice do you have for people? Because I don't know if you get this a lot, but I definitely get this a lot of people who hear I do Ninja Warrior and they're like, oh, yeah, that's so cool. I want to try it, but I don't think I can do it. What advice do you have for the people who think it sounds fun, want to do it, but just don't do it?
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah. You have to get in and try it. So
Uh,
me and or my first time, I guess it would have been Levi's second since he was here a week before me. Uh, I couldn't go across the monkey bars. I just couldn't. I couldn't
Yeah.
hold on or anything.
Uh-huh.
My hands were tearing. My hands were bleeding in like 3 different spots, and I just accepted failure at that point. And you just got to keep coming back, and because over time your grip's naturally going to get better. You're naturally going to get stronger from it. And even if it doesn't seem like a workout, your body is still going to ache the next day when you're not used to it. And that's the number one thing I noticed, is that my arms were so dead the next morning when I woke up, because it's muscles I've never really worked out before. So just keep doing it, no matter like how bad you think you are.
Same with Chris. If you go back to our Instagram, like one of our first or second posts, it's a video of Chris saying working out with the grip strength and stuff like that. And we have like a traverse box, there's monkey bars and like these little rock hold things, and he's like going across the monkey bars and he's like reaching up and like
And it just slips. I
down.
just couldn't
And,
reach
like,
it.
I like couldn't even, like, we have tilting ladders and stuff like that. I could barely get through tilting ladders, and it's like coming in at like 200 pounds, as I said earlier, it's super, like, it sucks a lot to be that low, like starting off, but then just continuously coming in and training and just working towards something is really just like, it feels amazing after you actually like achieve goals and stuff like that. Like, I couldn't be more happy with myself of where I've started to where I am now.
Yeah, so this is the way I think about it. And tell me if you disagree, but I think about it in 4 stages where people are unconsciously incompetent, which means you don't even know how bad you are until you start. Then you start something and you're consciously incompetent. You practice long enough to become consciously competent. And then you get to the point where you've been doing it for so long, you're unconsciously competent, where, like you said, like you look at the things you started out not being able to do and you don't even think about it. That's how easy it is. And so
Yeah.
when you say trust the process, that's what I think about, is like, understand those 4 stages. Yeah, know where you're at, but just keep putting in the work.
Yeah.
And that goes for, again, anything in and out of the gym. If you're looking to build a business, if you're looking to get a girlfriend, if you're looking to do just about anything, realize that if you haven't done it before, you're probably not going to just start and be amazing at it, but you still got to do it to get to the point where you're amazing at it.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, it's like one of those things where when me and Levi started, yes, we were terrible at it, but we fell in love with it. So we wanted to come back and wanted to keep doing it so we could get better at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really powerful thing that people underestimate, is if you really go and find things that you're passionate about and that you just love to do, you're automatically going to want to invest more time and effort into it. Now, if someone goes in, for example, I do mixed martial arts, and one of my friends just wanted to try something new. So I was like, oh, mixed martial arts, it's the best. And he came back to me after the very first time. He's like, I hate it. It sucks. But you know what? I'll stick it out. I'll keep doing it. And he fell off maybe a month later because he didn't love it. Now, for me, I love anytime I can get to the MMA gym and roll around and grapple and spar and do things like that. But I think an important thing that people overlook is how much do you actually care about what you're doing?
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. It's kind of become like an addiction. Like it's crazy how like when I started, I'd come into the gym twice a week. Like, and now I'm coming to the gym twice a day every week, pretty much. Like, it's just insane about the amount of time that we both are putting into coming into the gym. Like, my girlfriend makes fun of me because I'm always here. She's like, "Well, you'll probably be at the gym," and I'm like, "All right, that's fair." But like, it's insane. Like on average daily, we probably spend easily over 6 hours in the gym, either working out, and just hanging out with our friends and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And that's the thing. Like naturally, I've always had like this. I've always had this addictive personality with anything I do. If I feel like I want to do this, I'll just go 100% towards it, whether that's good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But with this stuff, obviously it works out. So like it'd be times where like it's like 11:30 at night or something, and I can't sleep. I'm like, man, I just wish I could go to the gym right now and just burn off some steam. And it's stuff like that just makes me realize like, okay, I'm in love with this sport, and I never want to stop doing it.
Yeah, I get that more than you know. I have an insanely addictive personality to the point where my dad will make fun of me because everything I have even a spark of interest in, all of a sudden, like for example, I got into rock climbing. I still like rock climbing, but the very first time I went and rock climbed, I bought a membership that day. I was going every day that week. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get good at it. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rock
And
it's super.
unfortunately, for a while, my addictive personality was because I'm 23. So when I first went off to college, it was not exactly working out and eating healthy. But I think it's almost an advantage if you have an addictive personality and you're able to harness that and put it towards things that are beneficial. Because if you can get addicted to the things that are good for you, it's just game over.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing, like once you work on the things that are good for you, you just naturally start to feel better about everything, feel better about yourself, your mood increases, and just thinking about that increases my mood. So like,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you want to do it? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's why I got into what I'm doing is I realized that in order to really like live the best life you can live, it starts with how much energy you have. And so I always make the joke like if you're eating McDonald's for lunch, Quick Trip for dinner, and then brushing your teeth with beer the next morning, you're just not going to have the energy to do the things you want to do. So, yeah, if you have to, eat a couple pieces of broccoli and like eat some lean chicken every once in a while, that's still going to give you the energy to do all the things you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And just your neurochemistry is going to be in a different state. So you'll feel better. So
Exactly.
I've said it on this podcast before, but the adage "you are what you eat" really is so accurate.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. Like after sometimes after competitions, I'll just like this past 2 months, I from the bucket chalk comp to our next one coming up is NCNS finals. I've really been being as strict as possible because this is like two big comps, so I haven't been really being like taking cheat meals or anything. But usually after like big comps, I'll take like maybe a week off of my diet and like not eat like terrible, but not eat super clean. And it's crazy about like how I feel at the end of that week compared to how I feel now. It's just like, why do I do that? It's just like, oh my God, I'm not used to all this sugar or something like that. So
Yeah, when the kickback I get from a lot of people when I talk about things like this is like my friends who don't eat clean at all. They'll say, "Oh, well, like I feel normal." But the
yeah,
problem is to them, normal
That
to
is
them
normal.
is here as opposed to normal when you eat clean is here.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough uphill battle to convince someone that they will feel different
yeah,
when they're used to operating on a system that they think the ceiling is here when it's just not even close.
Yeah.
definitely.
So run us through just because I know you guys eat clean. I think it's hilarious that you celebrated with like a fruit smoothie after your bucket of chalk competition. Like run us through just a day of like meals and training and all that.
So with my training and stuff, I do like high intensity moderate intensity, and then moderate intensity, high intensity. So a lot of it's just like I need to refuel my body a lot. So I do a lot of carb cycling now. So usually a normal day would consist of um, like breakfast slash lunch, because I only eat 2 meals a day. Will be like 4 eggs, some cheese, some ham, peanut butter and apple maybe, and then like a protein shake or something like that. And then at night it'll be either beef or chicken, maybe some shrimp if I'm feeling spicy. I don't know. And I try to fit in some like spinach and extra vegetables and stuff into that, just so I'm getting the greens, my vitamins that I need to be. But other than that, it's just I went through a phase where I did the carnivore diet, so it's pretty much just all meat and stuff like that, which is insane. I had a lot more energy than usually, but it was it was kind of more expensive, and it was kind of tasking on just like it sucked kind of. But now I'm getting more carbs in me, and it's pretty much just low sugar, kind of low fat and stuff like that.
I'm a really simple guy when it comes to this stuff, so I'm very picky. I'm not a big fan of vegetables or anything like that. So like when I'm on a low carb diet, I wake up, make some scrambled eggs, put some cheese on it, and I have some bacon or sausage next to it, and that'll literally fill me up till that night.
Yeah.
I don't eat a whole lot. I can't, and then that night it'll probably be the same thing. So I'll spice it up, make an omelet this time instead of scrambled eggs, and then
All right.
water, maybe a protein shake.
But this guy likes his sugar though.
Yeah, I do have a sweet tooth. Not gonna lie.
Comes in with the Red Bull sometimes. And I get
Ah,
after
yeah. I can't do like the most caffeine I can take is like a cup of coffee, and I get just shaky. Like you do not want to be around me when I have caffeine in my system. I'm so annoying.
Yeah, my face itches when I have the Red Bull. That is my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, do you guys use pre-workout at all?
I mix my own. Yeah.
So have you ever had pre-workout with the beta alanine, like the stuff that causes like the flush?
Yes.
That's what
that stuff is gnarly.
When I mix my own, I put a little bit extra of that stuff in.
Do you? Oh man, that stuff drives me nuts because I feel like I can't rest.
Yeah.
There's times where like we're sitting there getting ready for the workout. I'm like, okay, Levi, my face is tingling. We need to work out now. Like, we need to go.
Yeah, the first time I ever had pre-workout with that stuff in my system, it was supposed to just be weights and cardio. So I was gonna do pretty heavy weight lifting as well. So it was supposed to be long rest periods. And I would put the re-rack the weights, and I'd be sitting there for maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and I'd pick them back up and just start going again.
It's so crazy what that stuff can do. Like just your mental state of like, this is super easy. I don't know why I'm stopping. Like it's insane.
Yeah, that went way off like anything that I was expecting to talk about. But beta alanine, if you want like a rush when you're working out, get a pre-workout beta alanine.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got 2 like final questions that I ask everybody. But before I ask those, where can people connect with you guys? Because I feel like you guys are good people to ask questions about Ninja Warrior, whether for fun, for competition, talking about just training, healthy lifestyle. So if people want to reach out, how can they connect with you guys?
Ninja Teens everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just Ninja Teens. It's pretty simple.
Instagram is probably the main one. It's just a lot easier to communicate on.
That's where we're most active on is Instagram.
And yeah, pretty much like I said, anything about like Ninja Warrior, eating healthy and stuff like that. We're both pretty good with just like Ninja Warrior training, stuff like that, and got a lot of advice to exercise, eating healthy, and just mental stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
And then follow-up question. Can people get these tie-dye shirts and stuff from you guys?
We've been thinking about or trying to.
We haven't been trying. We've been putting it off.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to figure out how to get our merch online and like how to work that, because like Scott's merch is on Amazon and we're trying to figure out how to do that as well, because like our tie-dye shirts and like our pink and green shirts, they're all just made locally from like one of his friend's parents or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to figure out so people can just order them whenever they want, so we don't have to get like 12 people to buy them before we can actually put it in order.
And hopefully we can get like a website or something up there, just something in general, and maybe drop some headbands or something like that, because It's just trademark now.
Yeah, that question was really just for me, because if that stuff is online, I will definitely get like a shirt or a headband or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah, definitely.
like one of each probably. All right. So I asked the same two questions to everybody at the end of the podcast. The first one, and I'm going to have you each answer individually. What right now is the biggest obstacle between you and the best version of yourself?
It's a good one.
Well, thank you.
Definitely my mentality on some stuff. Like there's be times where I'm doing a course or an obstacle, and it's like, why? Like I don't think I'll be able to finish this, or uh, I've only been doing this for 2 years. Like I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be as good as people think I am, or like because there's been people that have like Scott. He's been training for 5 years, 4 years now, or something like that. And I'd say we've caught up to him in like the first year, right? Year and a half.
Maybe after year, yeah.
Yeah, year and a half ish. And he's been doing it at that time for 3 years. So it's like, why us? Why are we here right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, it'd mostly be probably just distractions. Like I know, like I feel like I work pretty hard on myself and push myself pretty hard, but I just feel like after at night or something when I'm sitting in bed, I could tell myself like I could have done more pull-ups or more push-ups or something, or like I could have been off of my phone and studied or something a little bit more to like get my knowledge up. But I think on most of it is just the distraction part about not uh, being on my phone and not being on my phone too much, or seeing a small like treat or something like that, like something that I wouldn't really eat in my diet, and I'm like, well, it's just something small. It wouldn't affect me that much, and I eat it. And I'm like, oh, I could have just grabbed something else instead of that. But yeah.
And to bring it back, what we said earlier about like the practice to what you preach is like I've always been super hard on myself just because I have really high expectations of what I do. And uh, with the bucket of chalk competition, how I fell into balance, I literally told myself I'm never falling on a balance obstacle again. And as soon as we got back to the gym, I was here till like 1 a.m, just consistently doing slack lines as much as possible. And I don't know, that could get pretty toxic, uh, being hard on yourself, but it's something I've always been. So that's definitely an obstacle that I need to work on.
Yeah, I think that's like it's a blessing and a curse to be constantly like self-developing and trying to grow and evolve. The blessing is you're going to end up way ahead of everybody else who gets content and complacent and comfortable. The downside is I have that same thing. You just have that like constant reel running in the back of your head, analyzing like, well, I could have done that a little better. I could have done a little more of that, a little less of that. I could have done that differently. And I think it's important to have that because it is that internal drive that gets you to keep dialing it up so you're a little better every day, or at least, progressively.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to be able to control that so it doesn't just run wild, always like telling you how much you suck or how much better
Yeah.
you could be. And so yeah, that's a really good thing to focus on. I'm glad you brought that up. And I think a lot of people who are high achievers or looking to be high achievers or really successful have that same thing. So I think it's good for people to hear that it's not just in their head. Other people go
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
I do feel like a lot of people deal with it, but it's just how you control it is like what makes it toxic or not.
Yeah. All right. This is my favorite part because so for the whole podcast, it's more just like back and forth. I think people can get a lot out of what we talked about, but this is where you have a chance to directly reach the audience. So here we go. And each of you get to answer.
All right, sweet.
What is one challenge you have for the listeners that when completed or done will better them or their life?
Oh boy, you got this one first.
All right. I think one of the biggest things for me in like life in general is just to know like who you are and what you want to do in life. Because I feel like if you know like all that stuff, you're just going to be happy. And that's like I feel like that's the biggest goal in my life. And I hope everybody's life is just to be happy with who they are and what they're doing in life. And coming along with that is just like the mindset of, you know what you can do, you know what you want to achieve, and you just got to do it. It's just like the only person between you and who you want to be is yourself. Like everyone's heard that before. It's just like you need to find yourself, be happy, and then keep pushing forward. I think that's like the biggest thing in life is just being happy and stuff.
Yeah, being happy. Um, my biggest thing is just focus more on what you love to do and focus on yourself. Just as for 5 minutes a day, just take time to yourself and focus on what you want to do and your goals and what you love to do. And I really think that within even as little as a couple weeks, your mental state will just increase a boatload. Like as long as you're there for yourself and you're not worried about what other people think as much, I just think then you can, like Levi said, you can focus more on being happy.
Yeah. Just control what you can control.
Yeah.
Is pretty much the main thing in my life.
Yeah. So the takeaway, you heard it from the Ninja Teens, take 5 minutes to yourself and just focus on what you love, what you're passionate about, and what you really want to do to feel fulfilled.
Yep.
Safe to
Yep.
say that's
Yep.
perfect.
Definitely.
All right. We will leave it at that. So thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate not only you taking the time to sit down and talk, but also I appreciate the example that you're setting for the kids at your gym, for all the people who follow you online. Again, like I said at the beginning, I think it's rare to find people who combine something they love to do as much as you guys love ninja with the ability to push your limits and work as hard as you guys work day in and day out. And if anyone doubts that, follow them on Instagram because you'll constantly see these guys running crazy courses, going to competitions, training. It's awesome. So I want to give you guys some gratitude and just let you know a lot of people appreciate what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Thanks
You
for having
bet.
us. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
super fun.
It was
I was
fun.
looking forward to it this whole week. So
You bet. So again, anybody who wants to ask questions, just reach out. It's very simple. I'll put it in the show notes anyways. Ninja Teens.
heck yeah, even though
That's-
we're not teens, but
Hey.
The Ninja Teens who are no longer teens, they've
Yep.
evolved.
we still do stupid stuff. So
Yeah.
Oh, you could, that's every age. You don't get
Yeah.
past that.
yeah.
Now, for anyone listening, if you feel like this conversation was useful to you or you think it would be useful to someone else, comment, share it with those people. There were a lot of good things in here about how to break through plateaus, what to do to stay healthy, taking care of yourself, your mind, and just making sure that you're doing things you love. So thank you guys. Much appreciated. And for the listeners, we will talk to you next time.
See you guys.